Today, we're going to talk about how you can sit without hurting your back. I get this question from clients all the time who have been working diligently at their exercises. Their back pain has probably improved in most aspects of their lives, except for when they go to sit at their computer. And after they're there for 10 minutes, 30 minutes, their back starts to hurt. So how can you sit without hurting your back? We're going to share 3 tips with you today on how you can do just that. In these 3 tips, we're going to go over 1, how to pick a better chair. Often you can spend thousands of dollars on looking for the right chair, but it's actually pretty simple. So I'm going to go over the anatomy of a better chair. We're also going to talk about how to actually sit, how to align your body properly so that it hurts less when you're actually sitting in that chair. And then third, we're going to talk about propping. How do you prop appropriately? So before I go on to my first tip, if you like things like this, please go ahead and hit that subscribe button, hit the like button, because I'm going to be continuing to post videos like this every week. So tip number 1 is how to pick a better chair. So I've got my very simple desk chair here next to me. You can see it's pretty ordinary. It wasn't very expensive. And here are the 3 things that you are looking for in this better chair. You're looking for it to be flat, firm, and relatively upright. So when I say flat, I'm referring to the horizontal seat here. When I say horizontal, I mean actually parallel to the floor. So not slanted back toward the seat back like chairs often are, but straight and flat. Firm implies that the cushion, which this does have a little bit of a cushion to it, that the cushion is not too deep, because if I sink too deep into the cushion, I'm going to be prone to rounding my back, which is probably going to wind up hurting me. And then the third aspect is upright. And so I like a pretty vertical back rising out of the chair. You can see this one is even a little bit tilted back more than I would prefer. However, we're going to talk about in tip 3, we're going to talk a little bit about propping and how you can mitigate that a little bit. But ideally, you've got a pretty upright back here, and there's no hole here. So if you were using, say, a ladder back chair, there might be a hole there where you may need some support for the back of your pelvis, which we're going to talk about here shortly as well. Now, tip number 2 is how do we actually sit in the chair? So to sit properly in the chair, we're going to actually sit on what we call our seat bones. That's the very bottom of your pelvis. And if you're trying to figure out where that is, go ahead and sit, and you can slip your hands under you and find those bony prominences right on the bottom of your pelvis. If you find those are your seat bones. That's where you should be sitting. Often when we've been sitting, even for a short time, we want to roll back onto our tailbones. And you can see that rounds my back and puts me in an undesirable posture, which is probably going to create some strain in my lower back, if not my upper back, over time. So we want to rock forward onto those seat bones. And you can also see that I'm sitting off the seat back a little bit here so that I can find those seat bones. Now, once you've got the seat bones and you can kind of dig them into the surface, I'm going to recommend that if you can, you scoot your bottom all the way back up against the seat back. You're actually using the back of the chair to prop yourself a little bit into this position where you're sitting on your seat bones. And then you can see that I naturally kind of align myself over my pelvis. So sitting on my seat bones creates a vertical pelvis position. My feet are still on the floor, and then I am letting my rib cage and my shoulders and my head stack vertically over that pelvis. Now, if you're shorter through the legs, you may have to sit a little forward and stuff a pillow behind you to give you that pelvis support. So remember, when I was talking about the chair, in tip 1, I said you don't want to have a hole here because you really want the seat back here to support the pelvis so that you can sit completely vertically stacked on top of that pelvis. Now, this is where propping comes in. So tip number 3, use props if you need to. If you're really uncomfortable sitting on your seat bones, if it sort of makes your hip flexors grab or it makes you feel like you're having a hard time holding yourself up, use props. My favorite props for sitting are these little hand towels that you can get. You probably have some hanging in your bathroom, but you take that hand towel and you fold it in half. And then once you fold it in half long ways, you're going to fold it in half again, and you wind up with a towel that looks similar to the way you might hang it on a rack. And then take that towel long ways and roll it. And by doing that, you create this nice little tube that you can actually place under your seat bones. So I'm going to lift myself up. I'm going to put this little towel roll under my seat bones, and you might have to play with where this is. Remember, you're also sort of shimmying back against the seat back, or if your legs are a little shorter, maybe a pillow that you've wedged back there. But this towel under my seat bones tips my pelvis slightly forward. So if I've had a hard time sitting just on the seat, on my seat bones, this is going to help tip my pelvis into a position that's a little more vertical and a little more upright. And you may need 2 towels. So tinker with how big your towel roll is. You can just roll another towel into it to get the perfect situation where you feel you can sit up straight with ease. So often people try to stuff a lumbar pillow here in their lower back, and they think that that's going to be helpful because it's sort of pushing your lumbar curve a little bit there. But that's not really where you need the support. You know, I talked earlier about having the support at the base of your pelvis. So if you have a lumbar pillow and this is hard for you to sit away from the seat back, or you're going to be here for a while, you can always try stuffing that lumbar pillow right at the very top of the pelvic bones. That's where you need the support. If the lumbar pillow is too big for that, use the rolled towels. They work perfectly. Now, this is not to say that you're not going to get tired sitting in this position. So even with a better chair, better sitting position, and using props, you're still going to get tired because the human body just isn't meant to stay still for all that long. So even productivity specialists tell us that we should only be working for about 50 minutes, that's 50, not 15, 50 minutes at a time before we need a brain break. So you may need to set the timer on your phone for 50 minutes to get up and walk around. Otherwise, your body might give you that alarm a little earlier and start to make you fidget, make you uncomfortable, make you realize that something behind your shoulder blades is starting to ache or your lower back starting to get tired. When you feel that, just get up, walk around, stretch a little bit, and then come back to your seat, realign, and make sure that you're realigned and sitting properly before you continue. I hope you found this helpful, and I will look forward to seeing you again next time.